Hey guys, this is Hobby Monsters. This is just a video on how we're going to take off the whole front housing so we can get to the diffs, etc. And so, yeah, let's get started. Alright, so first you're just going to want to flip over the car. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to unscrew the skid plate, the front skid plate. And so there's 5 screws. I've already unscrewed them. So there's the skid plate. Alright, I've already taken that off. And so, just put it over there. And so after that, you're going to get it right here. And so, what you're going to need are, you're just going to be using the stock Allen keys. And so you're going to take, I believe it's this one, and pop it in there for the steering arm, for the servos. I've got the dual servo set up at the moment. Anyways, so just going to take this out like so. Alright, so that's out. So
that's
basically
the steering arm. You don't take off the steering horn because then you have to redirect your servo, but just take that off and then your servo saver is just there and you don't have to do anything on the bottom anymore. Next, you go to the top.
Alright, next we're going to take out the shocks.
The 2 screws holding the shocks on the bottom, pop off the shock towers, and then next step.
Okie dokie. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and undo that. Okie doke. Just these 2 screws.
They're quite long screws, so.
They are pretty long screws, actually. Yeah, they're some of the longest screws in the car. There's one of them, and then the next one. Alright. So, after we take out the shock, after we undo these screws, we're just going to pop the shocks out so they're kind of out of the way, push them out, get them pointing the opposite direction so they're not in our way. Okie doke, almost done. There we go. Alright, the second.
So now the screws are out. So shock tower falls out. That's just the shock tower. You don't have to do anything. Once your suspension is out, then we're going to take off the front body mount and bumper piece. It is held in with 3 screws on top, and I believe, 1 screw here.
And just so you know, guys, for those of you that are kind of new to this, this is the exact same setup as the 1/16 scale Summit and the Summit VXL, etc. This is the E Revo VXL, so yep.
It's the exact same setup.
It's exactly the same chassis. Basically, the only difference is the long travel rockers on the Summit and the tires and the spoiler and the body. But that's it, basically.
So you just want to get these 3 screws out. Oh, that guy doesn't want to pop out.
Yeah, they're kind of
they're a bit of a tough spot.
They're a little bit tough to get out. They're kind of in the place where the body pops on, the body posts. And so, anyways, about the E Revo, I am having a little bit of trouble coming up with a name for my car. And so, if any of you guys have any suggestions for names, please just write it in the comments, and possibly I will take it on. Once I decide, after a couple days, couple weeks, depending on how many people give me suggestions, I will say the name of the person who gave me the suggestion, and that will be the name of my car. So if any of you guys ever have any suggestions for a name, please just give us a shout in the comment section. So yeah.
And last screw is...
Oh yeah, the last screw right beside the little metal pins about that big.
And you really don't want to lose these pins for the A-arms because those fall out quite easily.
Yeah, don't lose those because that's what holds in your A-arms, and without those A-arms, you're screwed. It's not a car anymore.
It's mostly just those pins that you don't want to lose.
Yeah, the pins are the main thing because those are really a pain to get.
So that screw is out. There's that 1 screw.
Okie doke. 1 screw, and then here are my screws right here for the.
And now you can just kind of wiggle these
front skid plate.
Wiggle that out. There, the body mount just comes sliding right out.
Yeah.
And then there's the little screw. Yep.
Right,
and then there's 2 other screws here.
Alright, here's one screw out.
And that holds this the gray chassis plate to the actual diff housing. So you want to get those out. Then just flip back your shocks.
Yeah, make it a lot easier to work.
If you want, while you're doing this, you can just clean out in here. You don't have to, I believe you don't have to take out your transmission to do this, but there's 2 screws right there that we will be taking out. So that's the next step.
Yep. Alright, so we'll just take the stock Allen key and pop it in there.
These are a bit of a pain to get back in because you have to lower them completely. If you don't, the shock will rub and it won't give you full travel. So make sure when you're putting it all back together,
you need to really
tighten them.
Yeah, tighten them.
Right to the bottom. Don't be scared of anything. Just tighten them right down.
Okie dokie. Well, as you can see, I've got the heatsink
installed
on my motor. Yep.
And we're doing. I have the 1/16 Summit, and we're gonna be doing upgrade videos on them. We're gonna be going ahead and getting tons of aluminum and titanium parts for this. First upgrade will be the CVDs, which is like an almost must-have. And then I already have the turnbuckle set, aluminum turnbuckle, and I'm gonna get push rods, and we're gonna get different chassis, and all this stuff. So we're gonna be doing an upgrade video on those, and over time, because gotta buy all the stuff.
Yeah, and if you guys are wondering where we get all of most of our parts or our future parts, our metal parts, for example, a whole new chassis. So this whole part, like the battery doors, etc., etc., and all that. That's we're going to get all that metal, etc. But the website that we get it from is called Integy, so they make some really good parts. I recommend getting parts there. Well, we recommend getting parts there because it's a lot cheaper than the stock Traxxas parts. The Traxxas, for example, the Traxxas drive shafts, the universal drive shafts right here, those will cost about $70. But if you go
at our local hobby shop,
at just a local hobby shop for the stock Traxxas ones. But if you go for the Integy ones,
they're the exact same setup for $35.
Yeah, they're the exact same setup for $35, and the shipping depends on where you are. But where we are, the shipping's about $17, so it's still about $20 less than the stock Traxxas one. So everything there is a lot cheaper for these metal parts.
So next step is on your servo saver. The turnbuckles are connected in the servo saver here. So what you're going to do is you're just going to turn it sideways, so then you can get into the screws that hold the turnbuckles to the servo saver mount. It's quite easy. You just got to get it through the A-arms, and then and once those are out, then you can go ahead and this one is almost out. And there you have it. Turnbuckle's off. Next one, you just turn sideways to access that screw. And also just caution, if you are getting the aluminum turnbuckle set, they don't come with aluminum hollow balls. So
keep the same hollow balls. Keep them.
And if you want to get a new set of hollow balls, there are tons of companies who make full aluminum hollow ball sets for the E Revo. They're like $10, and you just switch out all your plastic ones for the metal ones. And it's a pretty nice upgrade. So now I believe we will have to, I think we might have to take out the drive shaft. So take off your servo saver. And in here, there is the center drive shaft. You probably want to turn the drive shaft to get to the grub screw. And grub screw is there. It just pokes out. It's a very small Allen key. Just that tiniest one. And then you undo the little grub screw. You can take off the center skid plate, but I just do it like that. It goes in, and make sure you don't lose that little grub screw. Once that's off, then the drive shaft should just slide off the transmission. So Once that grub screw is almost out.
Yeah, quick pointer, I almost forgot about the heat sink that I have. So, thing about it is it works extremely well. It cools down my motor a ton. It's just the problem is that it, with the body on, so this is just the stock E Revo body, but with the body on, or any other body, it doesn't get enough air to the heatsink. And so what I've done is with my body, I've cut a hole right there at the front of my E Revo body and at the top in that little air vent kind of place right there. Just with an X-Acto knife, it's nothing too fancy. And then you can just sand it off with like a little small piece of sandpaper. And so that will increase the airflow towards the heatsink, and so that'll help you out a ton. It's not worth getting a heatsink if you don't have any place for air to go to the motor. Another way to do it is to drill holes in the windshield, but I decided to make the air vents because I thought it looked better.
Next thing is to just pull off this aluminum plate on the front. It connects to the pins. Just pop that off. And don't lose this grub screw from the drive shaft. It is very small, and you don't want to lose that. If you do, then you can't use your drive shaft. Now, I think we can pull this out. Maybe not, because I haven't done this in a while. You might have to unscrew the dooby-dooby-doop. Dooby-dooby-doop. And he does not want to come off. So, I think we might have to take out the transmission. Because that's how I did it before. Yeah, I think we might have to. Okay, that's pretty easy. Not a big deal.
Alright, now, yeah, we haven't done this for a little bit. But anyways, taking out the transmission. We're going to have to take out the center skid plate. That is 8 screws that holds it on, so it's quite a few screws. You don't want to lose them, obviously.
In this, there's an order. There's 2 big screws in the first, and then it goes to 2 medium screws, and then to the last 4, which are small screws. So when you're putting it back together, big screws go closer to the steering servo. This is the biggest one, and you want to make sure that you get those all lined up, because otherwise your chassis plate won't get held on properly.
Alright, so we're just going to work together here and try to get all of these screws out. Yeah, so once you get all these 8 screws out, I'm just going to pop out the transmission and we'll go from there.
You do have to remove the ESC and motor, though.
But that's really easy.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about these 1/16 Traxxas models, is that everything, to be honest, is very easy to take apart. Okay, I'm going to keep on getting all these screws out. Alright, there's those screws. Now we've got 2 screws left. There we go. Almost done. Okey-doke.
Alright, this one is held in. Where is this one held in? Because this guy doesn't want to come out. Oh, see, these are the little tiny pins that are held in with the front, for the front A-arms. I'm just going to take those out because they fall out quite a lot and you don't want to lose them. So I advise to do that. And then we need these middle screws. They're so hard to get in and out. But you really want to make sure your center drive line is secured very nicely. So don't hesitate on screwing these down really hard, making sure your Your skid plate is on very securely.
Alright, so
these are the big screws, and then the second ones are these medium screws. The medium ones are the second in the line from the servos, and the big ones are the first, so make sure you get those. Because if you mix those up, you probably can't. You have to completely take out all these screws, and it's kind of annoying.
I got the last screw, and then the center skid plate off.
And there's your internal kind of part. So now, to take out the motor, super duper duper easy to do.
Open up the battery doors, and grab the ESC, and it pops right out because it's got little grooves.
And then you just grab. See, the whole transmission is moving, but we need to take out the motor because the motor makes everything easier to take out. And you will need 2 sizes of Allen keys for this.
You'll need the biggest one and the medium-sized one.
Yep. 1 screw out for that motor, and then just the bigger one. We've done a video on how to do this, putting on the heatsink, so if you ever need to take out just your motor, then go look at that video.
Yeah, it's very easy to take out.
And then, once you get those 2 screws out, you slide the motor sideways, and it pops right back out. You can undo the cords, but I'm not going to do that because we don't need to. Then, there are grub screws. There's lots of little grub screws. Fun. So, I got the same Allen wrench as before for the little grub screw. Oh, and here we go. There. Whole front assembly. So, yeah, we did need to do that. And there you go. That is the whole front diff housing.
Yeah, and then look at the diff in there. I think I need a little bit of diff grease in there, but
and clean it up maybe.
Yeah.
And if you're ever doing the CVDs, drive shafts, when you buy them, you don't expect them to be very hard to put in, but you do need to go straight into the diff. Have to open up the whole diff, go straight in, and put new pieces in. We're gonna do an upgrade video on that because we're doing that upgrade anyways. So
yeah, you can see that big diff gear spinning. I'm just spinning the drive shaft, and there you go. Oh, another pin fell out.
Yeah.
Do not lose those little pins.
And then for here, if you ever want to take out your transmission, it is just another grub screw in the center drive shaft. The whole thing pops out the bottom, and then you're good to go. It's almost the same for the rear. The rear, it just has a bit more screws for the wing mount, and it's only 4 screws for the bottom plate. Otherwise, it's all the exact same, and it's pretty easy to do if you know what you're doing. And you got to make sure you know where all your screws are, because if you don't, then you don't want to lose them. So yeah, that is the video on how to take off your whole front housing.
And also, it's very easy to put back on. You just do the same thing in reverse.
Yeah.
You know, basically, instead of taking off all the screws, just put them back on. It's extremely simple. I think most of you should find it quite easy. But anyways, until then, please subscribe and like the video if it was good, and please leave some comments, especially because I'm having a little bit of trouble naming this bad boy.
My summit is name it. I'm gonna go for a red and black color scheme with all the red anodized parts that I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna get all these upgrades for. And I'm gonna name him Devil. So that's what my summit is gonna be. I'm gonna go for the black and red theme. And here we don't know what he's called. E Revo right now is going for black and blue with all the blue anodized parts.
Yeah. So anyways, please, if you got any names, just throw it over at us in the comment section. But until next time, thanks for watching, and we hope you found this useful. All right, see ya.